Evening, everybody. Welcome to the Block 9 podcast on this Sunday evening. We are myself, Michael the Crazy Pilgrim, and we have with us Marcus on the right there, Andy the Grumpy Lawyer on the bottom, and Carl right below me. Look, we got a four-way grid tonight. So, folks, we finally managed to scrape a point away from home after a performance actually was all right. Still didn't get many shots on goal or anything really creative, but we put in a hell of a shift, and that's what we wanted to see. And actually, before the game, that's what we wanted. Try and take a point. If we could get the win, would have been great, but the way it's been, that's not likely to happen. Derby did try and come at us, but we did hold firm. And yet we end this international break, yet another one. That's the third one so far in this season, with a home win against Portsmouth on the Tuesday and a point finally away at Derby. And we scored a goal from a set piece, but we still scored a goal. So, so brief synopsis. Carl, come to you first. Do you want to give your thoughts? Did you watch the game? I can't remember if you said you did or not yesterday.
Yeah, I watched the game. After my night shift, I woke up early to watch it. And yeah, I think before the game, we all would have accepted a point, especially away at Derby, because that was a good opportunity for us to get some points on the board. Obviously, it was a massive improvement from the Leeds game. At least we had a shot on target. We saw a bit of possession. We had some obviously key players back as well. It was a all round better performance. I wouldn't say it was obviously our free flowing best, because we played a bit more defensively and tried to kind of hit them on the break when we could, because they were pretty decent first half. Second half, we came into it a bit more.
Yeah.
Had a few chances. I think we needed that point to kind of give us a bit of belief on the road again.
Yeah, and Andy, that first goal, we were live. Andy was live on a live he was doing before the game. Then we decided to stay in, and then Argyle had a good start to the game, Andy, didn't they? And then literally 8 minutes in, corner. And to be fair, Yates was a brilliant overhead kick, and then we were all like, "Oh, really? Not again?" But we managed to not drop our heads, did we?
We did. It's lack of communication, wasn't it, in defence? I think Cornell Sukes went for the ball with Callum Wright, and Callum Wright won the header.
Right.
But because Sukes was in front of him, the header didn't go very far. I think it was either one of the. If it's either one of those dealing with that, then the ball's headed outside the box. But because they sort of bumped into each other, the ball goes straight to Yates. Overhead kick and it's in the net. One of those, isn't it? Yeah, good goal. Great goal, to be fair. I'm not going to take anything away from the goal, but we got to communicate in defence. Really, I was saying in my last live, championship live, for those who couldn't be bothered to come and see it.
All right, you've said it enough times now.
That if Sukes is dealing with that, then the ball's at the box.
I think. Well, to be fair, it was Sukes' shoulder barge, and he couldn't have clearly thought it was an Argyle player, because he went right in the back, and it sort of then deflected the header that Wright was trying to clear. But it's sort of those little mistakes and stuff that cost us, and luckily enough, it wasn't detrimental in the end. But after that spell, Marcus, come to you now. After that spell, Derby did start coming at us, didn't they? And I mean, there was about 8 corners of them in total, and I swear all of those felt like they came in that spell just after the goal.
Yeah, but it was more of a dogged performance by us, and to be honest with you, none of us seems to be very good on like any corners or crossing. I don't think we've had one goal from scoring from a header, and defensive. He's not very commanding. Grimson's not very commanding. It's his weak link.
Yeah.
Because you don't seem to control the defence very good from corners. Because every time a Derby came with a corner, they looked like scoring.
Yeah, threat, definitely. And it was that sort of one of those where you would just sort of like, come on, guys, keep it, just keep your heads, don't lose your heads. And they didn't. And yeah, it definitely was a digging deep, performance. And I think, it's worth pointing out that Argyle did have spells in the game, but where they sort of controlled the ball a bit more and passed it well. What was noticeable, though, it was the final third. There was that that final ball where it was either passed too short or over hit, and sort of players caught half asleep, not going to the ball and it getting stolen. And it was just like, so we didn't really muster, any. I mean, we had, some shots on goal. If I look at the stats, saying shots were 5 to their 20, in total, which says it all, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's not good. The free-flowing attacking plays seem to have gone out of the window. We don't seem to have got that back since Foster.
Yeah. But do you not think as well, sort of, Carl, come to you again, it's one of those games where, a bit like the Pompey game, Rooney said, I didn't care for the performance, it was just a case of getting the result. And I think, going away again, it was probably a little bit of, yes, we still wanted the result, but we had to see a performance because we've been so bad in the games of Cardiff, Leeds and Millwall that, it was just like, we don't want to go into this break having another embarrassing defeat, did we?
No, and after recent results away from home, we just needed to kind of stop the buck and get a good performance and get some points. And obviously that's what we did with the point. I mean, I thought the game was there for the taking if we did show a bit more of attacking threat. But I think once he brought on Forshaw, kind of for the last 20, 25 minutes, we kind of looked like we accepted that a point would be a better result instead of pushing for 3 points when we could have got hit on the break and lost the game. So I think 4 points from the week is a good return going into the international break, and obviously being out of the bottom 3 is a good psychological thing as well. So yeah, a good week all in all.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you everybody that's joined us so far. Keep tapping the screen for those likes, and please share the live with everybody. Good to see some sort of comments flowing through amongst. So, and good evening, Lisa. I can see it there. Sean joined us at the start, as always. So it's good to see Elliot. Ralph, how do you feel about Randell? So that's coming on to my next point now. And Andy, I'll come to you on this one. So Randell came back into being available again. We sort of said on Thursday night's live, actually, someone messaged, or it was Elliot, I think, that said Randell is going to be ready for Saturday. He came in as captain as well, and Carl and I were trying to ask each other or in the group whether or not that was his first time with the armband or not, because Houghton normally receives that. But he sort of made a difference, didn't he, Andy? And he was commanding as well in that role.
Absolutely, mate. Big boost for us for him to have back in there, because he's a leader. He's a young leader, and he's a Janner, right? He loves our club. He loves Plymouth Argyle Football Club. He's come through our academy. He's one of our own. We all sing it. And he's a leader. He's a leader. You can see it in his performance. He's stepping up, whereas Houghton hasn't stepped up for me.
I think Houghton stepped from Houghton.
I think Houghton stepped backwards. I think he's got the right to have the armband, Rands, because he's a Janner through and through. He's a Plymouth lad, and deserves it. And all right, his goal was a deflected goal, but it was if he didn't take that free kick, we wouldn't have scored the goal.
Yeah, he hit it with pace still, didn't he?
And it's just, I think it was good for Argyle fans. I don't know how many. I think Sean went up yesterday. Sean, didn't you? And some others from here. I think Harvey went up as well. And it's just good to see him there. To see him on the pitch, because we all know against Pompey that we looked sort of not out of our depth, but we didn't sort of look at the races against Pompey. It's very much a cagey affair against Pompey.
Yeah.
Who headed that ball in there?
That's me. Just like that defender for Derby, heading it into the top corner.
We didn't go yesterday, didn't we?
It was overhead kick. Overhead kick.
Was it the overhead kick?
No, I meant off Randall's free kick, because it deflected the defender's head. So, but yeah, I think that regardless of how the goal came, I think, Carl, the sort of the fact of having Randell back in allowed us to sort of play a bit more openly. JB in the game as well, I thought did really well in spells and and commands the ball. And we said this last time about those two working well to each other. So although we've had obviously big injuries, with Gibson and Edwards, Sissoko going off, when you sort of lose Rands as well, that sort of midfield has been targeted, hasn't it? And has been quite weak, whether it's Houghton coming in, Forshaw coming in, trying to pair up with JB or not. JB and Randell just seem to work off each other really well, don't they?
Oh, I missed it. Yeah, that's that's our best combination, isn't it, in midfield, I think, going forward, is obviously JB and Randell. And they've played a lot of games together. And we don't look the same team when we have to go with Houghton or Forshaw in there. And they've got an understanding together. And like you said in his post-match interview, when Rand is on the ball, that frees up JB to kind of push forward a little bit as well. And with JB, he always seems to get better as the game goes on. I thought he started a bit ropey, gave the ball away a few times, but he tends to do that quite a lot. But he always grows into the game, and he's been a top performer this season. The longer the season's gone on, he's started to really impress me since he's come back from his injury.
Yeah, and
they've got a good connection together, both of them.
Yeah, so it'd be good to keep those two fit, that's for sure. So, I mean, Marcus, sort of, obviously you said about Randell coming in, you had Sorinola and Pleggy who started again. And I thought both of those, were just brilliant.
Both of them took a chance. Sorinola seems to be getting better. That's his third game in a week, so he hasn't played virtually the whole season, so he is getting better. And I think the same could happen with Better if he had more game time.
Yeah,
you're expecting people to come in with no matches at all and to be outstanding. It doesn't happen that way.
No,
and you can see Sorinola.
Yeah, I think that's where Ogbetter's going to have a problem now, isn't he? Because it's trying to get minutes now, and he's going to be kept out of it. And I know he's not everyone's favourite anyway, but yeah, I think there's the two people that have come in and staked their claim in the last couple of games. I'd say three actually. Plaguey, Sorinola and Callum Wright, I think, have sort of staked a claim that, right, I want to take this opportunity. And that's what it's all about, Marcus, isn't it? Is if you're given that chance through injury, suspension or whatever, you've got to take it. And probably the only player that hasn't really captured that moment is probably Freddie Azaka. But those other three have really come in and done well, haven't they?
Also, I don't think Paulson's taken this opportunity.
No.
But with Mumba, you can't really drop him, so Better is not going to really get any game time.
Yeah.
Mumba's been too good.
Yeah, Mumba. Yeah, I'll come on to Mumba a little bit later as a segment piece. But yeah, it's I think, when we came out of this, the last international break, and sort of away to Cardiff. Obviously, Carl, you went, a few others, or a lot of other people went to that game. I think Sean, I can't remember if Sean went to that one in here. I think he did in the chat. But it was, we were looking positive because we came off the back of some good results and a good spell previously. And then it all fell apart. And then it fell apart again, on Tuesday night, and it was just like, oh my days, what's going on? And, sort of Leeds is never easy to go away. And then neither's Millwall, so it was just, everybody I think it was fair to say, everybody was a bit panicky and a bit reactive and, sort of, it doesn't help. Of course it doesn't. But, you have to be a little bit patient. You have to factor in those injuries. But a few players probably didn't really come to fruition. Paulson, we mentioned, Ogbetta in one of those games, as well. And you're just like, oh, come on, lads, really? But it's just good, I think, Andy, to see couple of those players really come through, and hopefully they're going to give Rooney a headache when the likes of Gibson, and that comes back, and Galloway eventually.
Yeah, you'd like to think so. I agree. It's you've got to give these players a chance, haven't you? And if you don't give them a chance, then what are you going to do? Just bench warm all day? It's no good for them to sit on the bench and just watch the same players getting picked and not perform, when knowing that they could probably do a better job. And they're having to step up to the mark, and yes, they are stepping up to it. So you've got to keep giving them a chance, So it's key to the team, the squad, not just the team, the 12 players, 11 players on the pitch. I'll go mad. I've been talking too much.
You've been talking too much. 12 players.
Marcus's fault. He's always frying my brain. But yeah, you give them a chance, and it's a squad thing, isn't it? And you've got to rotate that squad sometimes to try to find the best combination. We did that Saturday. I thought we had a good squad, good team on Saturday. Strong team, strong bench as well.
Yeah, it's good. I just to touch upon a Derby player, actually. Actually, before I do that, I just want to check through some of the comments. Jacob Perry's sister's having a baby tonight. That could change because they don't always come out when you expect them to at times, from experience, as we all know. So congrats for that. I'm just looking. There's not much else. Sean saying Derby was getting to the second ball all the time. Yeah, they were also nicking it off us, and that's what I highlighted, Sean, about the first half is, we were getting into the sort of middle of the pitch and towards the final third, and we were hitting a ball that was getting stolen. Whittaker was a bit lazy going for one that created a chance for Derby. But one player that did stand out, and we kept bringing him up on the live, Andy, didn't we? Was that Nathaniel Mendes-Lang?
He's on the backside.
Yeah, he was, and he threatened us whenever there was a corner or they were going forward. All he wanted to do was shoot. He was actually almost like the Whittaker, but able to get into space to try and smash it at goal.
Yeah, it's the sort of player you want on your side, mate. He's a big, ugly, not ugly. I don't mean that horribly. Mendes.
He's let himself go, Mendes-Lang.
But he's a big lad. Right, Watford joined the Prem. Yeah. No worries, Watford. We'll bring you in a bit later. We're just discussing yesterday's match, and then we'll bring you in, mate. So hang around in the chat and chat away if you want to do so. We'll bring you in a bit later, mate, because we want to talk to you about Watford game. But yeah, Mendes-Lang, pain in the neck, but a great player to have inside. What a player! What a threat! I don't know he's 33, but he'll run at you and he'll give you all sorts of problems. Yeah, I did say his name lots of times yesterday.
But he was. Yeah, you were listening on Radio Devon. We were watching it. Yeah. So there was about a 30-second delay. So it sort of did sort of spoil the tension and the.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
Well, it doesn't matter, does it? We said that before actually, because Andy's on the wireless, you see. I mean, he's only discovered this internet in the last
What's that
few months.
internet stuff anyway? Is it still dial-up network?
When he connects, it still goes. Just want to go through some of the stats. So overall in the game, it was 53-47, which. Yeah, I would say it's probably a little bit favours us. I think Derby did control lots of spells of the game. Total shots, like I said, 20 to them, 5 to us, which does absolutely sound about right. Shots on target were 4 to our 2. Big chances, actually, it's noted as 0. These are from FOTMob, I should say. This time, accurate passes, definitely, 76% to us, to 75 accuracy to Derby. So that surprises me, considering how many balls I felt we gave.
I don't see where.
Say again?
I don't see where that we had so many accurate passes.
No, I know. But then we were okay coming from the back and in the middle. So there was a lot of passes going on there while we were trying to find some space. So maybe it's picking it up from that. But the corners was the other big one, 8 corners to our 3. So, it just goes to show. And those corners, Andy, didn't they, came in, when we were listening, we were watching, came in those sort of, that after the goal, really, they were peppering. It must have been about 4 just off the back of that goal.
Yeah, and, to be fair, they looked dangerous all the time. Every corner they had, they just looked dangerous, or sounded dangerous in my case.
Yeah, absolutely.
The commentators, we had, what's the guy called, played for us? I forget now, but anyway.
Brunt.
No, it wasn't Brunt, no, it was an ex-Derby TV. It was an ex-Derby player as well. Anyway, forget it. I'm getting Marcus's Alzheimer's here. But every time he mentioned it, yes, it was Guy Branston. Thank you, Macy. I'm glad you're still here, Macy. I love Macy. She's
Somebody's got their faculties.
But so he was saying that every cross that was going in there was just like, oh crumbs, it's another corner after corner after corner, and it was peppering us.
Yeah, no, it was. And I think I just replying to someone there who just sort of said, Rob Reeve, evening Rob, did we look more positive? And I just said, yeah, we did. But, we were calm, we were a bit more focused and we weren't panicking. But it was just nothing in that final third again. That was going on. Chris 52, good evening. We need a big centre forward to hold up the ball. Morgan Whittaker needs a deck chair on the way. I do like that. We'll come on to that in a minute. big sort of important thing above all else, in this game, and and it is a sport, whether it's players or fans, that the results, of course, have a massive impact on, sort of the atmosphere, the vibe, how everybody feels, so getting that point, let's not underestimate it, getting that point on Saturday. And now Hull have played today and they lost, so it doesn't change things. So we jumped from 22nd, so we were sitting in the last spot of the relegation, to 18th.
That's nosebleed stuff, isn't it? Nosebleed territory.
Yeah, and Carl, when you look at it, we've got Preston now below us, Luton now below us, Cardiff below us, and who would have thought that after that defeat to them? And Portsmouth and QPR, the two that have always been down there, but obviously swapping places. So for Jamie, who joined us for the Portsmouth review, they've managed to get a win and now in double-digit points, and they just sit 2 points above QPR. So it does, doesn't it, Carl, just show what a difference just a result can bring.
It shows what back-to-back wins can also do as well, which I don't think we've had yet. Quote me if I'm wrong, but I think this league shows that it's so tight, especially from kind of the bottom three kind of up to the top 10. And it's really hard to. I think it's going to go the whole season. It's going to be a tight league all season. I mean, hopefully it won't go down to the final day again. But it's going to be there. It's going to be difficult, I think. I've completely lost my words now.
I'll guide you, because one of the points you made, I think it was you that made in our WhatsApp group, and just looking at it now, so we're 1 point behind Oxford, who all throughout this season, for me, have been very, very consistent. And I think, we probably give ourselves a hard time because this spell we have had such a torrid and run of those away games and leaking so many goals, which at the end of the season, goal difference, Carl, could be massive, couldn't it? So if we're on 16th and 18th, and we could go up to sort of that, I think, is it 11 on Swansea, on 19 there. So depending on goal difference and other results, of course, but you're only a couple of wins away from getting right back into that mix.
This is what I'm saying. I mean, looking above you, a win takes you really, really high up the league, and it just shows how important it is to get points away from home, because we can't rely on the home form throughout the whole season. So if you can pick up the odd point away from home, a win would be even better at some point, and that would keep us in a healthy position. I can see there's going to be some managerial changes soon, I reckon, with Hull and Luton, so they could have a bounce and an upturn in results as well soon. So I can't see Luton sticking with Edwards much longer, and I think, is it Wagner at Hull? I think he's getting quite a lot of slack as well. So there's going to be a few changes soon, I reckon. Yeah,
and that can always go one of two ways as well. So the position is critical to get out that bottom three going into this break. J5 Fitz has made a good point. Callum Wright has been great recently. Always works his socks off. I think if we come on to Callum Wright now, I think he was brilliant against Pompey, felt that, he probably deserved a start. It's always a dangerous one because you wonder, are players tied to that super sub sort of situation where they come on as a sub and play better? If you take him and Bundu, I don't think, in the nicest way to Bundu, he deserves a start in the next game. But Callum Wright, definitely. And Callum Wright was my man of the match. I felt good about him yesterday. He gave a really positive energy to the squad, and obviously until he was subbed. But yeah, I felt he did really, really well. So Andy, thoughts on Callum Wright, because you've been obviously a big advocate of him as well, and he's definitely...
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Callum because he's an honest player, right? And he doesn't crunch into the tackle so much, but he does chase back and he does create a lot of stuff. When him and Danny Mayer were in the team together, they were hard to beat, Argyle, and that was when we came up through League One. Those two players, either side, were just magnificent. I thought Callum Wright was superb in League One. Now, some will say he's a League One player, but I think he's actually stepping up. And I think with Rooney giving him a chance as well, he's taken that chance. And he's a bit more aggressive in the play than someone like Al-Haj maybe. I like Callum Wright. I just hope he gets a good run on the side now and starts to prove his point.
Yeah. It's one of those where, sort of sometimes, sort of players, you can see them run around a lot and they don't always necessarily do much. And Callum Wright can be like that at times. A great crosser of the ball. There was one moment, and it just twigged in my memory, where he should have squared it to Obafemi in the first half and decided to try and go for glory. And it's like we don't need players, as I said the other day about Whittaker, which we'll come on to in a minute, as Hazo has also commented. We don't want players that are trying to be a hero in the game. It's like just think about what's around you, because that's where, when you're not getting a lot of chances, you got to use those players. But what was clearly evident that Callum Wright brings to the game and did on Tuesday is just ignite that bit of energy and drive and desire, trying to go after the ball. And, he almost dragged Whittaker into it as well on Tuesday night. That's great to have. If you've got a player that's going to run around and say, well, come on, I'm going to make sure we don't, slip up here. And I think that does rub off on people. It's a bit like Edwards. And you always say, go in and put a hard tackle in very early on and get the crowd going, and jeer up the players. And, for me, Callum Wright did that, in that game. Another player, Marcus, Obafemi, got a start, didn't he? And I thought he did all right in the game. Again, not much to do, but he sort of worked hard coming back in and helping support the midfield and all that stuff, didn't he?
Well, to be honest with you, there isn't much more he can do because they're not really getting the service up front.
Yeah.
So all he can do is like snap around, not giving the defence any room to breathe, like Callum Wright does.
Yeah. Because
the pair of them and Edwards are like three whippets running around. You got Whittaker going on like Andy there on a Sunday stroll, who doesn't seem to run around. Because Whittaker is quite a big bloke and he seems to get pushed off the ball too easily. Yeah. He's not a small bloke.
Yeah, well, that's what Obafemi, was causing yesterday, and it's absolutely right. Even if you're going to play with one up front, you want someone who can come. He's so quick off the spot, and he's aggressive, and he's strong, he's muscly. He causes havoc to players, and they don't like it because he's always going to be on them, clipping at their heels and very quickly. So you've got it does force defenses to be switched on. Whereas I think Derby, I think Hardy, he's got brilliant stamina and fitness, but he's not as quick getting. So it's all right running, up to the defenders who are moving the ball around. But if you've got when you've got Obafemi who can get there so quickly, it does unsettle them.
He hasn't got the strength, has he, Hardy, like Obafemi, which is the biggest problem. I think Hardy's probably quicker than Obafemi. Hardy's got great pace, but he just doesn't have the strength, does he?
Yeah, out and out pace. Yeah, possibly. I'd like to see them in training when they do their sprints and see who does come up on top on that in that one. So yeah, looking if I go back to the lineups, go on, Marcus.
Also, like that goal against Portsmouth, Hardy wouldn't have scored that goal.
Yeah. Yeah, but then, like we said, Hardy could have scored the one against Cardiff. That could have changed the game. That's what I said on like the last two lives. It's all just the way we're playing, and it's a bit up and down. It's just confidence and in front of goal. So yeah, it's always going to be one of those every game when someone misses a clear cut chance. We're probably going to.
Hardy doesn't look as quick as he did last season.
Yeah,
he doesn't like a yard off the pace.
Yeah,
I think that's due to match fitness, though. He hasn't really played a lot, I don't think. So I don't think we can be too harsh on his pace because we've seen it over the years.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I mean, looking at who else we had in there, and just looking at what FootMob gave us the scores. I mean, on the Grimshaw sort of that overhead kick, it's always one of those. It happens so quick, and you never know where it's going to go, and it was smashed. Just above his head into the roof of the net. Other than that, Grimshaw did all right. I don't think he had too many that were at him that, sort of force anything significant that I can recall. Souks did okay, settled down. I think he's clearly one that likes to have a decent partner next to him. And I think Pleggy helped with that yesterday as well. And Pleggy's desire again, it was just fantastic.
I like Pleggy. He's an honest player.
Yeah,
honest player. He's just, Sorolola's an honest player as well. There's the two lads have been sort of sitting back, waiting for their opportunity, and now it's arrived, and they're enjoying it. They're just getting in there and enjoying it. You saw Pleggy's reaction at home park at the end when he kicked that ball out of the ground. He's loving it. He likes playing.
Absolutely, and deserves it for sure. JB, we mentioned Randell. We mentioned I'm coming to him. Right, Bundu sort of said not for me. I mean, sort of Carl, is he someone that you agree as well as probably not really seized the moment?
No, I think every time he seems to get a start after having a good performance off the bench, he just doesn't seem to deliver. Which I think he's had that chance many times now, and I think he's actually is more suitable coming off the bench where he does have an impact. Because every time I've seen him start, he just doesn't. I think the only time he has was it against Leicester? Did he start that game when he got the goal? Apart
scored
from
against Hull as well, didn't he? Didn't he score against Hull? Was that this season? I'm sure he scored against Hull.
There's not many games he started that he's been impressive.
No, he hasn't scored this season according to the stats,
and he's had enough chances to step up now. So, yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah, no. Obviously, we've mentioned Obafemi. There's two players, sort of always turn a negative with a positive, and I don't mean that they come out wrong. But before I go on to a certain Morgan next, just want to give a shout out to obviously us as the Block 9 podcast on here. Please like and share. I can see people have been tapping that screen. We are up to nearly 5,000 likes, so that's really appreciated. And everybody that's joined us tonight, thank you for all the comments that have been going on, and the guys have been keeping on top of those while I try and organise things here. Give everybody a follow, please. You've got Marcus there on the right. You got Carl down there as a green giant, and Andy as a grumpy loyal. Marcus, I think it's about time we give you a bit of a name to your tag, because we've all got some. And obviously myself, the Crazy Pilgrim. We are on other platforms. You can see the link in my bio for all of that. And we are going to try something up to mix things up soon. So we'll sort of share more when we do. It might mean about exploring things elsewhere, because we enjoy doing what we're doing, and we want to expose that to a wider audience. And it seems to be harder and harder on TikTok at the moment, and I'm hearing that from others. So it's we will share that where we can, absolutely. So I'm going to come on to Morgan Whittaker. I don't want to feel like a broken record every sort of session that we do, where it's almost, he's not getting involved in the game again, and he's not tackling players, he's not chasing the ball down, he's not able to get past people, he's being selfish at times. I mean, yesterday he just didn't do anything really at all yesterday for me. Andy, it's one of those where, are we afraid to drop him because is his value going to then suddenly go down? But is it going to go down anyway with the way that he's playing?
Yeah, it's I listened to commentary yesterday, and I hardly heard his name mentioned at all in any positive light yesterday. I don't know for Sean, who was at the match, he said he looks lost. Is he playing in the right position? Because in that successful season, he was playing in the 10 role, wasn't he? And
was he playing in the 10 in that successful season?
Yeah, he was.
Been on the right.
He was playing in the 10 on that row, and he used to cut inside. But I think someone else commented in the section below that people are getting wise to him cutting in from the left now and curling it, so they're blocking that avenue. So I noticed about Morgan. Certainly in one of the previous games, I think we won it. I never came back Preston game 3-3. He was more of a team player there. He's he
only came into the game though once we got a spark, and that seemed to be the thing. Like I said on Tuesday against Pompey, when Wright and Bundu came on, Wright added some energy. Then suddenly you notice Whittaker, because he's obviously playing down our side in the second half. You suddenly noticed him getting involved. But I said it on. I know Carl and Andy, you weren't on Thursday night, but sort of I said on there that is it a mental thing? Is it just not working for him? Macy said again in the comments she did on Thursday, he's not been the same since Foster joined. We could say he's not been the same since Azaz left. But as with everything, if you take Sorinola, if you take Pleggy, if you take Callum Reitner, you've all got to try and prove that you deserve your place. And there was one ball, I alluded to it earlier, where I can't remember who passed it to him. It might have been JB or someone. Actually, it was Randell. And it wasn't hit fast to him, but he was waiting for it to come to him, and the defender just ran in across him and nicked it off him. Yeah. And it was just like, I mean, come on. There was a couple of other spells in the game where I was just like, for me, I'm starting to hope that it's a mental thing, and he just needs a break and just needs to get his head straight, rather than it being, Andy, that he wants to maybe wish he'd gone to Burnley. I wouldn't like to
I think it is a mental thing, mate. We talked yesterday in WhatsApp about this sports psychology, and Whittaker seems to have this problem, right? That if he's not being sort of praised or he's not getting amongst the goals, that he either loses his form, it dips, or he gets dropped. We talked about when he was at Derby. Rooney bought him on as a substitute on 32 minutes and then subbed him off again because he was playing crap. So to me that sounds like a spoiled child. If he's not playing, then he doesn't like getting taken off. We saw it when he went back to Swansea at that time. Swansea took him back and he had to stop because he went back to Swansea because he found his happy place on Argyle with Schumacher. And then all of a sudden, his former boss turns up at Home Park and he's thinking, oh no, Wayne Rooney again. And maybe that's, I don't know, is that sort of affecting him psychologically? Might be. Because, he's a good player. There's a great player in there. But he's got to show it week in, week out. He just can't come in fits and starts. And he's got to get his head together for each game.
Yeah, because I think, Carl, the worrying thing for me is that it's almost... when does it start to then have a negative impact on the team? Because against Pompey, he was trying to be the hero, and I said that on Thursday. Don't want him to be the hero. We just want him to get involved and help create play and good passage for other people. But it's almost like feels like he needs to go out there and win every game for us, and that's not what we need him to do we? Well, ideally if he can, but you know what I'm saying.
It just seems like he's just worrying about himself and Morgan Whittaker only. He doesn't seem to be kind of wanting to play as a team. And that reaction, obviously, when Obafemi scored against Portsmouth, he didn't look happy. He didn't celebrate the goal. He didn't look interested because it felt like Obafemi took, or not stole his moment because he earned the goal. But it wasn't him that had that kind of moments like we talked about a few weeks ago. And I don't think he should be picked purely based on having moments when he's not even having the moments at the minute either. So what is he in the team for? Because he's not playing well. He's not having the moments. And it just seems to be a waste of a place where we can give someone else a go. I know we keep harping on about Tegan Finn, and a lot of people don't seem to be agreeing that, he's 16, he can't come into the Championship. Why not? Why can't he?
Rooney's good enough at 16.
We're carrying Marcus.
Rooney was good enough at 16.
He was, yeah.
If he's good enough, play him. It doesn't. The goal is the same size, whatever level you play at. If he's got a shot on him, like Whittaker, just give him a go. He can't be any worse. He can't be any worse at the moment. I don't think age comes into it. At that point.
Yeah. The comparison that you could use right now, and obviously Rooney wasn't around when Izaka was starting to break into through the youth and into the squad. Is Izaka just looked a little bit lost. He created one good opportunity on Tuesday, but he just didn't seem settled. I think it was you, Carl, someone that said Obafemi Mumba didn't want to pass it to him because he just wasn't confident he was getting in the right positions. And so there is that element where people, from your tweet on the other platform, could be referring to, because that's an early example. But you got to think. I mean, he scored, didn't he, yesterday he scored 2 in a 5-2 win. I forget who they were playing against, but we said this, Marcus and I, on Thursday. If you're going to keep bigging him up like you are, but then not even get him on the bench when you have got a squad that's depleted currently, you wonder then if that mentally impacts the player in any way. And secondly, with Finn, do you want to just reiterate what that post was that in reply to to your tweet earlier about him being looked at by someone else?
Well, I just saw it before we came online. We lost Jack Stevens when he was in the youth, didn't we, to Southampton? And I think we've lost Walton, the goalkeeper, when he was with us in the youth. To again, I can't remember who he went to now.
Ipswich, was it?
Was that Ipswich or Brighton? I'm talking when he was a youngster. But I just don't.
Yeah,
you know, if we're going down the Brickfields route, which is great news for the club, and we're going to be hopefully attracting some more and some higher talent into the youth setup. You know, what is the game here? Do we want to produce young players and not give them exposure, or do we want to produce players to give them exposure to sell on at a profit? And at some point, you need to start using some of these youth products to get exposure, to maybe get clubs to kind of start looking at players if we're going to use that model in the future.
Well, we didn't even have Roberts on the bench either, did we?
No, and he was the best player at Leeds, I thought, in the midfield.
Yeah, see, why aren't you giving these players a chance? Yeah.
Also, if you're picking up youngsters, you're gonna get scouts from other clubs go to the academies to have a look.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those where if we can turn someone into a few quid and it gives that player an opportunity, then great. If that suddenly happens really quickly with Teague and Finn, then then fine. For all we know, even the United scouts or the United contacts Rooney has might be saying out of interest, who have you got down there? And there's always that chance to sell him on with a potential loan back and all this sort of stuff. But yeah, I'd like to. It's almost Rooney's almost got us so excited, yet we're not able to see the chance. And when he came on, was it Leeds he came on where the game was done, so he didn't really get to show anything at all. I don't think he even really touched the ball. But when you consider with someone like Roberts, who, like Izaka, has been given a chance, and I stare at that bench yesterday that's got, Jordan Houghton on there, who was one of the best players last season for me, but has had an inconsistent season again because he's not been regular. But the one that stands out above all else is Rami Al-Haj, because he was awful against Portsmouth. Again, he looked invisible, whether it's a style of play or whatever. And you just think, well, surely, Roberts would have a chance of at least getting a place over him after that performance. So, it is a bit of a strange one, I think, that one. Marcus, any other thoughts? Because I know you always like to be the person leading these conversations in the chats.
Well, I don't know what Teague and Finn's contract is, because didn't Roberts and Isaka at the age of 17 sign 4-year contracts? Some of these players that he thinks are good, either play them or at least tie them down to long-term contracts. You don't have to wait till they reach 17, 18. Because I think Isaka signed a 4-year contract.
Yeah.
Okay, didn't know that. Yeah.
But that's good. That's good news if he has, because that means someone's going to have to come in and pay some big money for him.
Yeah, just looking at the comments from Samuel's made an interesting one, which could be fair. Rami Al-Haj needs to play in a non-physical, skillful game. He does look like he has got that flair, but I suppose we haven't done enough in recent games to allow a game to flow, because Sissoko has definitely been a big miss for that. Randell, in the previous 2 games, a big miss for that. So maybe we are, Marcus, are we being a bit too hard on Haj? Or, for me,
I think so, because looking back on it, he come from Danish football. It ain't going to be as good as the Championship. It might take him a season to get into it.
Yeah. I reckon, do you know what I reckon, Mike? I reckon Al-Haj would suit a game like Watford, because I don't think Watford are a particularly physical side. I think they're a more skillful side, aren't they? And he might
They have got some big players, Watford.
Yeah, but they're not your sort of Millwalls or your Prestons, your cloggers.
No.
I think Watford at least try to play football, don't they?
Yeah, they're one of those.
Agreed. They have got some big players, but maybe that'll suit Al-Haj if you can play in a game like that. Don't know.
Yeah,
I like your comment as well, Carl, about Clyde Lurlos. Clyde was a good little player for the reserve then, yeah? Scored a few goals, and then was it Crawley Town now scoring goals for them?
Yeah,
Bolton, isn't he?
Go on, Marcus.
He's at Bolton now, isn't he?
Is it Bolton now? Is he? Oh, I don't know. He might be. He might be. They got thumped yesterday, didn't they? 5-1 or something. Anyway, sorry.
Did they? No, I think he's Macy's just confirmed that what Marcus was saying. He's gone to Bolton.
Thanks, Macy.
Yeah, so I think for me though, I think Roberts deserved to at least be on that bench. So it was a bit of a shame that he didn't get that chance. Let me just go back to my notes. So I said turn a negative with a positive all the time. You should always do that. It's a sales thing. But Mumba, sort of wasn't the out and out best player in the side yesterday, but. I put a tweet up yesterday after the game, and that seems to have exploded. But I have felt all season that he's come a long, long way. And someone said the other day about him being actually now showing them what we paid him his £1 million worth. And when we put Argyle players into context, £1 million is a lot for an Argyle player, but then a Championship player, it's not a significant amount. But like a lot of players, he hasn't had all the best of the games at times. But he's been in there consistently. I mean, I put it up. He's played all 15 games, started 13 of them. I haven't loaded the tweet up, but it's however many minutes that is. He hasn't scored any goals, but and incredibly, it says on Footmob he hasn't made any assists either. But his average rankings coming out on there as 7. But he's just come into it a bit more. He doesn't slip as much, but then he did slip. It caused us a painful goal the other day, the other game. But yeah, I think when I look on the pitch, I think the only player to probably have played as many games has got to be Whittaker. He was obviously dropped was that the Leeds? Which one was that he was dropped for? Was it Leeds? Whittaker was dropped. Yeah, before we played Pompey. So I think Whittaker is right up there with him. When you can look at the squad, and I'm going to come to you, Andy, with this one because I know we don't always agree on right before, and I feel great for right now. The same with Mumba, but if you look at those players, for me, is my standout so far. Who's yours, or is he yours now, or what's your thoughts?
He has improved. I'll give him that. He's got to sort his studs out because he's always slipping over.
It's not as bad as last season, but it's still bad.
He's got that low sense of gravity, isn't he? And he can beat players. And I certainly noticed against Pompey, when we actually got into the game, he was more sort of, okay, he's in the game now. He's there. And that's certainly that cross he put across, was it the second goal against Preston, was it? It was a beauty. It's a lovely cross. So he has got it there, and so has Whittaker. This is what I'm saying. Whittaker has got that in his pocket, and so has Mumba. Mumba's got that skill. Mumba can score goals. We know that. They've got to find their feet at Championship level. I don't think really that they are Championship level. That's my honest opinion, because Whittaker got found out with Swansea, and who loaned him to us? Didn't do well at Swansea, didn't do well at Derby in the Championship. So at best, he could be a League One player, Whittaker. And that's just my honest opinion, guys. Don't shoot me. Mumba, same with Norwich. He was, he played. I think he started off at Sunderland. Sunderland offloaded him to Norwich. And then, of course, he didn't do well for Norwich in the Championship. Came to us on loan, did well in League One, but not doing it in the Championship. You see where it's going? It's a little pattern there going. It's not that they're bad players; they are good players, but I just think they're at the moment they're top of League One standard rather than Championship, and that's just my opinion, guys. All right.
Yeah, I think that's what I mean. I mean, Carl, we're not spoilt for top end Championship players, and clearly, like Andy just said, the likes of your Whittaker are suddenly almost being found out. And I don't know, unless we speak to a Swansea fan or a Derby fan, was that his issue before? He lacks the ability to change it up a bit, but. I've got he did give an assist because I think that led to the goal. Was it in the Preston game recently, Mumba? But yeah, it's 1170 minutes for those that love stats. But yeah, it's for me, it's good that we've got those sort of players. And I think when Sissoko comes back, I think that'll be a massive thing for Mumba because. You pointed out he doesn't like to seem to pass to Izaka when he's paired up with him in the 2 games prior. He does love getting forward, and he does love linking up with someone that's got pace as well.
Yeah, which leads back to what do we do when Gibson comes back? Because we cannot drop Such and we can't drop Pleggy on current form. So I think it's a perfect opportunity to go back to a back 3 and have on those wing backs again, which we know we will see Mumba probably shine a lot more, especially on the front foot, and obviously getting the goals and the assists, which he's lacking because he's playing too deep.
Well, Hazel, if I pronounced that right, just said in the comments, Carl, sort of what about swapping Mumba in Whittaker's position, because he is more naturally a right-sided player, and could you do that, and then does that bring Pleggy into that role and allow Gibson to come in?
It could work, but where do we go with Mumba's position? Who do we slot in there?
The Whittaker's change. That's what he was suggesting.
Yeah, but who comes in for Mumba at the back?
Sorry, I'm with you.
Better.
No.
No.
Why not? Marcus said himself earlier on, why, if you're not giving these players a chance, I mean, we all said, Sorinoda, crap. But actually, Sorinoda, the last 2 games, he's not been too bad. He's given a performance, and he's given, not 100%, but he's given a performance. It's the same with, Plegazuelo. Plegazuelo's come in, and he's taken his chance.
And I think, to be honest,
can Pleggy not step into his shoes there, Carl?
Potentially, but it's whether Rooney's going to drop Whittaker. That's the main thing. I think going forward, like I said, bringing Gibbo back, keeping Pleggy in it as a back three, going back to the wing backs, and just see how we perform, especially at home if we can do that. Away from home might be a different story, but I think if you want to see the best of Mumba, we need to revert back to what he did under the formation of last season, the season before. That's when we saw the best of Mumba. Although in a back four, he has improved defensively, so that's also good to his. He's added that to his bow as well.
Well, so picking up on, and I think a few people are not liking the old better suggestion, Andy, but it's
dangle the carrot.
You've done it again.
Yeah, just Carl, just sort of stop trying to stay on topic, and I do want to pick up the Pleggy and Gibson thing again in a second, actually, because I've got a thought on that. But who's sort of stood out for you? If it isn't Mumba, who stood out for you this season so far?
Ooh, I think Randell. I think Randell stepped up again. Obviously getting the captain's armband hopefully will do him the world of good. Obviously, we've discussed before about he's a little bit quiet. Hopefully now he's been given the armband, that will kind of bring him out of his shell a bit more, and we can see him a bit more trying to lead on the pitch and trying to direct other players and being a bit more vocal, because he can be quiet, and hopefully we can see a bit more of that going forward. I've been impressed with Grimshaw. His playing out from the back, his distribution is excellent. We haven't seen much of his shot stopping, funny enough, because a lot of the goals we have conceded, I don't think he could do a great deal about.
I think we have seen some of his shot stopping, in fairness, and he is pretty good.
Yeah, in the
Watford now, isn't it?
Oh, say again, sorry, Marcus.
It's weak things, the crossing.
Yeah, that's his weak point, coming out for crosses. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
He did that at Derby, got a couple of punches, didn't he? But he seems resistant to come off his line and kind of take ownership of the ball.
So I'm just chuckling because Jack Dobson, good evening. Don't know how I've ended up on here, but thoughts on Burrow, lads. Finn Azar's a different class. We
want him back.
Yeah, we're swapping for Whittaker if you fancy that.
Whittaker's a good player.
Say again. Tumbleweed runs across the screen. Marcus, I'll jump to you. I'll jump to you for your thoughts on sort of. We can go into it a bit more actually when we do our season so far review. But who stood out for you from your point of view this season so far?
For making his debut, I've been impressed with Souks.
Yeah, great shout. Yeah, great.
shout.
I love that. Throw that one into the mixer. Absolutely. Apart from the last couple of games when he's been a little bit found out without the right partner, except for when Pleggy's now settled in.
I reckon this because before he had the experience with Gibson, he was quite commanding in the box. Because most of the blocks seems to be Gibbo doing it.
Yeah, they both look after each other, don't they? Really well.
Yeah. So
I think
that's
Ben
been
went up
the season so far. Been impressed with him.
Ben Wayne stepped up. He's a top scorer, Argyle striker at the minute.
He stepped up to Mansfield's bench.
Well, it's a shame for the lad and a shame for Argyle, really, because I know when he signed on, Ben Waine. There was big expectations from him, and they've just not delivered at all. Has he? So
I think he was signed for League One. I don't think we expected to go up the season when we signed him. It's not his fault that we obviously had the success, but if he can't even get into a Mansfield team, that says it all for me.
Exactly. So I'm going to go. I love that, Zook. Yeah.
Also, you've got to look at, he wasn't prolific for Phoenix in New Zealand, so how's he going to be prolific in the Championship?
Yeah, well, he certainly hasn't risen at like one.
You've got to give him a chance, Marcus. You've got to give him a chance. Get him back. Give him a chance.
So I'm going to come back onto the. I think it was Hazo suggested it. But what do you do? Going back to the Pleggy Gibson question, and I was thinking to myself that Gibson's definitely one that creates a lot of opportunities, doesn't he? With you said about Grimshaw's distribution. When we played, and that was a tactic of ours consistently. And we mixed that up and didn't do much of that at all yesterday. We like to play from the back. Gibson does, bring that ball out, doesn't he? And does take it forward and create opportunities. So I think in an attacking, if he comes back and his fitness levels are strong, I know a player doesn't really get into the they're not.
But a max headroom there.
But he's going to, I think Rooney's going to probably want to throw him back in because his ability to take the ball forward and create attacking plays is what we've been missing.
I can't see Pleggy starting unless it's a back three.
Andy, read that comment I just unhid at the bottom. Sorry, go on, Marcus.
There's no way Gibson won't come straight back in.
I think he means Chris Tarrant. Isn't it Tarrant who wants to be a millionaire? That's got to be you, Andy, surely.
Oh, right. I'm Bruce Forsyth.
Sorry, Marcus. Sorry, go on, Marcus. Sorry, mate.
I'm just laughing at Andy.
Everyone else does. Wouldn't worry about it.
Bloody Ramblers. Where was I? Yeah. You can't. Gibson's got to walk straight back into the team. He'll add so much beneficial for like starting from the back. So it's got to be Gibson and Sooks at the back, but unless you have a back three, then you have Pleggy.
Yeah. Someone remind me, what is Pleggy's natural position?
Centre back, right centre back.
He can play centre back, or he can play right back.
Yeah. So would you swap him over Sorinola then?
No, I couldn't do that.
Back in.
It'd be harsh on Sorinola as well, wouldn't it? It'd be harsh.
Yeah, no, I know.
It's a tough choice. Who'd be a manager? I mean, yeah, I like Sorinola. He's an honest guy. He gives us a game, doesn't he?
He always plays with a smile on his face, is what I like.
I mean, I hear that Marcus is a defender, and then Marcus always plays left back in the dressing room.
Oh my God!
The Block 9 for the dodgy dad joke.
The Block 9 podcast has officially gone downhill, people.
That's it.
Should be called Looney Tunes.
Looney Tunes.
Where's my notes? Let's bring this back in. So,
you even throw Mike off?
Yeah, he has. No, I've got my notes. I've ticked off my points. So sort of coming to my last point really not necessarily the last point, but my last point from Carl was players' time off. So Carl, Marcus, you have the Argyle TV. Is Rooney confirmed then that they're going to get time off?
Yeah, he said a few days off. Whether that's going to be a week or not, but he did confirm a few days off. I suppose he's got to take Colleen to the airport, hasn't he?
Yeah, and pick her up a week later.
Yeah.
So I think it's you want have a few days because there's been a lot of back-to-back games, but you want to get them back in and start focusing on coming back.
But you also got to remember footballers don't really have a proper job, do they? Where they have to work hard.
Hey,
not your scaffolders.
They're fortunate enough because of their skill and ability, unlike us, Marcus, to be able to be in that position.
Yeah, they play once or twice a week and they're tired.
Those scaffolders, Mike, those scaffolders, they're always looking a bit down in the mouth. They're always looking up at the pole, aren't they?
Yeah, because I keep getting these messages from a crazy man on WhatsApp.
I didn't know you were a scaffolder, Marcus, and now I know what you do. I've never asked you.
Right? Where's your drum roll jingle, Mike?
Oh, yeah. I had them opened up, but Sophie was playing with them earlier, those sound effects, but it's not.
Chili oil.
Yeah, it's not.
We haven't had chili oil for ages
haven't had
because
chili oil.
has not been here. See, I bet it wasn't as fun last week when I wasn't here.
What, Thursday? It was only like a few days ago. That was
Yeah, I know, but I wasn't on Thursday, was I? I was on last Sunday, so I'm just bringing a bit of joy back to people's lives.
To be fair, Marcus and I said at the end we missed Carl more. Oh, sorry, they say that. So anyway, for you, Andy.
Yes.
Oh, hang on, my sound's too quiet. Hang on.
Oi, that's better. Even Sean said it was. Look, even Sean said it was boring, though, right? In the comment section. Thanks, Sean.
No, we know Sean likes to speak his mind, don't we?
I'll pay you the $5 later on, Sean. Don't worry.
After the last one. Anyway, we'll move on from that one.
Yeah. Taya, can I ask you a question to you all? Yeah, Taya, what's your question to us all?
Yeah, just literally going to read the same one. So Taya.
I'm tired. I don't know.
Yeah.
We waited breath. Yeah.
We should wait for the comment to hit. So I'm gonna go because we're on our hour, which has been good. Obviously, we've got Watford next in the televised game on a Friday night, which is good because we could then jump a few places when we get the result there. Touch wood. So. Yeah, that's to look forward to. They've been very strong at home, Watford. I don't know what their away record is.
Away form, they've only picked up 6 points. So away from home, they're not that great. So we could take that.
Yeah, and the manager.
So in answer to your question, Taya, whereabouts do you sit at Argyle and favourite player? There you go.
Oh, there we go. Go on, Andy. You answer that one first then.
Right. Well, I sit in block 9 and I sit next to that crazy pilgrim at the top there, or near him. He's just... You don't have to yap, but flip it out. I'm trying to watch a match and he yaps like anything.
That way.
But my favourite player, I have to say my favourite player is Adam Randell.
Oh, Carl?
Block 11 and favourite player probably... it's a tough one. Probably Gibson or Mumba.
And Marcus, over to you.
Mayflower, favourite player, Gibbo.
Are you one of those ones that has to suffer it out in the rain?
Huh?
Are you one of those that has to suffer
in the rain,
when
it
rains?
But I work in the rain anyway, so it don't bother me.
Well, that's true. Good shout. So, as Andy's alluded to, hence the title of the podcast. I mean, Argyle's secretly a block 9 person, wink, wink. But, so my favourite player would be Mumba. As I said, I won't be giving him player of the season. So, that's my favourite player. So, look, I'm going to come now to final thoughts on as we end the episode of the Block 9 podcast. What's so funny? What have I missed?
Macy. I thought it was Ben Wayne, Marcus.
God, that's just going to roll now for the rest of the season, that, isn't it? And I bet he'll end up coming back in January and he will start scoring goals.
Marcus.
What do you? So Barbie, good evening. I've seen you've thrown a few comments in there, so let's read one out before I come to final thoughts. What do you guys think of Rooney so far? Are you pleased? And what would you like to see change? So Marcus, I'll start with you on that one. We're going reverse, and then and also any other final points you want to make before we sign off.
What I'd like to see change, I'd like to see try the back 3, try something a bit different.
2 up front, maybe?
And 2 up front.
Yeah.
Go for something a bit different because it's something didn't happen up front, so you got to try something different.
And are you still giving a thumbs up or a thumbs down to Rooney so far?
Thumbs up.
Yeah, good. Carl, then...
Apart from needs a bit of a plan B.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah, I think we're slowly starting to see a plan B with the performances against Portsmouth and Derby because we were a bit more robust and defensive trying to get points. So I think there's a plan B kind of on how we play, but not so much formation and tactics, which I would like to see a bit more with obviously Gibson coming back against Watford. I just want to see kind of like a bit of a formation change back to, like I said, the 3-5-2, which will give us obviously the 3 centre-backs, Marcus's 2 up front and those wing-backs. So I think, I'd like to see that going forward. And obviously Rooney, I'm still backing him. I think he's done okay up until now. Obviously the home form's decent. You can't blame him on the away form because that was crap under recent managers as well. We just need to back him more in January, and I think hopefully I'm sure he'll be here for this season, and then hopefully he'll keep us up, and that's job done in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think thanks for that, Carl. And I think Andy, that it was a bit of not a debate. It's just wrong word. Sorry, comparison over. I'll start under Schumacher and I'll start under Rooney. But I think I hit the nail on the head when it's like when you come up after winning, which Oxford obviously had the benefit of. Obviously, Pompey completely collapsed, but sort of there is that difference. People know how you play. Clearly, Whittaker's been closed out, hasn't scored anywhere near enough goals. Hardy the same. So it's an unfair comparison, but he's still done all right, hasn't he?
Yeah. I was just going to say that, Mike. You took words right out of my mouth. No, it was. There's a comment in the section below about the strikers need to do more, and the strikers do need to do more. In the same breath, we need to have the ball played through to them. We need that player in the 10 role that's playing the ball through. We're missing a Nazaz. We've all said Nazaz. We're missing a Nazaz player. So we need that type of player inside that's going to feed the front men. And I agree with Marcus. Having 5 at the back as well, is a good option. Having your Pleguezuelo in with Zooks and Gibbo, and then having your 2 wing backs, and running with it like that, because that's where we got most of our success under Schumacher. And my final point is that we have been playing that style of football that Shuey is sort of brought in, and the players know how to play that. It's just that final third, isn't it? That final third. If we get that final third right, we start scoring a few more goals with the strikers, then we're onto a winner, aren't we? Because we know they can do it. We know that Hardy can do it, and we know that Whittaker can do it. Yeah, it doesn't take that long to sort of build that back in there. You've got to get that strike force going again.
Who's the 2 up front you have, Andy?
I'd have Obafemi up front, properly with Hardy.
Gray and Obafemi for me.
Yeah, me too.
Hardy's got a bit of pace about him, and he also knows where the back of the net is. We know he does.
Scrap that. I'd rather have Ben Waine and Ryan Hardy up front.
Well, I wasn't going to wind Marcus up anymore because it's like.
So
I'll scrap that. I'll go for Ben Waine and Tyreek Wright up front.
Right, I'm going to bring it back to some sense with my final thought.
Watch out.
And I haven't played the sound effect for a while, but my thoughts on Rooney, still happy. I said at the end of the day, I don't think the club would get rid of him. Even if we had a torrid season, there's a long-term plan from both of them, and this club is very stubborn and also likes to speak its mind when it probably shouldn't do, as we found out this week. But everybody slips as a slip of the tongue every now and then. But yeah, I'm sort of like very much, I think, now we've got a couple of results back. It just shows the league position, how things can change so quickly. So we haven't hit. Did we hit bottom for a period, or have I forgotten that?
No, not before.
No, I don't think we had. No, it's always been Portsmouth or QPR, isn't it, down there? So, yeah, for me, it's a thumbs up still for Rooney, and it's something to build on. And when you factor in also all the injuries, it's not helped. So with our depth of squad, but I'm looking forward to Watford. I'm not looking forward to the international break, although I'm looking forward to us trying to bring something a bit different to our Block 9 podcast show. So keep an eye out for that. But other than that, really, that's
another thing, Mike.
Oh, go on.
Another thing. Rooney's on a 3-year contract, isn't he?
Yeah.
We're still paying Foster's wages, isn't we?
Yeah, we are. I was told Rooney didn't want the salary, but legally we obviously have to pay him something. So, and that's another difference, just to add on, is he doesn't have to do this and he doesn't have to pit himself through it. But I like his grit, I like his determination. And the one time that you do know when a manager's probably had it is when the players stop playing for them. And I don't think they are in any way, shape or form. So, Marcus, thank you for tonight. Carl, thank you for tonight. And Andy, thank you for tonight. I'm surprised you still got a voice after all the chatting and moaning you did beforehand.
I've got another one to go after this. You know that, didn't you? You've got the mental health.
So plug.
This is where the Crazy Pilgrim can't join.
Yeah.
No, hang on. Let's rephrase that, Carl. This is where the Crazy Pilgrim won't join because he likes his own lives. He likes his own lives.
Yeah. Hang on. Can I zoom in and make my head a bit bigger?
But you're all welcome. Yes, there is a lot going on after this, guys. It is The Block 9 podcast. Hello, Sophia.
No.
It's not the Block 9 podcast. This is the Block 9 podcast. It's a mental health one after. I'm going nuts here because it's
Can someone
Marcus's
cancel on Andy tonight on his show next,
fault. It
please?
is. It's Marcus's fault. He's been giving
What
me
time did you finish this morning, Andy? 2:00.
It's about that, yeah.
Just take your medication before you go on live, and
Medication.
There we go. So yes, join Andy after
medication.
if you really must. He'll just be talking to himself. Although he can do that well enough, as well as I can. But anyway, thank you three. Thank you everybody that's joined us tonight. Great comments going on as well, so that's fantastic. Thank you to everybody that's followed. Make sure you follow everybody on here. And we will let you know when we're back on again soon. So see you later.
And thanks for having me in tonight, Mike. I really appreciate you coming in tonight, mate.